Well, welcome back to another edition of Friday Night Comics. I know I've been inconsistent lately, but just poor planning on my part. Been out of town and forgetting to, upload some videos and, to have them ready for Friday. But anyway, I'm back with a new episode here, and this week I'm going to focus on my collection of The Defenders. Now, growing up, I liked The Defenders. I had a whole bunch of the Bronze Age, Copper Age series, but I had since sold them. And later on, when they reintroduced the team, I jumped on that bandwagon back around around the year 2000, maybe. So where they brought The Defenders back, and this was the first issue of that series. Again, I think it was around 2000. So there's number one. Here's number two. I kind of like those obscure teams. Avengers and the X-Men being the main titles for Marvel, the main team books. But then they had the Defenders. There were the Invaders, which I do have an Invaders video in the pipeline. With a whole bunch of key Invaders books from the 70s, and I think, pretty much it's the 70s. So stay tuned for that at some point. I'll get around to it. Here's number three. Number four. The Defenders consisted of Doctor Strange, Namor, the Submariner, and the Incredible Hulk, with occasional appearances from the Silver Surfer, Nighthawk, Valkyrie, but the core team was the Hulk, Namor, and Doctor Strange. Here's number six. Kind of goofy interaction between Namor and the Hulk. They're always kind of going at it. They pretty much hate each other in this series. And I think the premise here was something brought these guys together, or anytime trouble was going down, they were forced to come together as a team to help, I guess, work it out. There's some curse put on them as a team. So there's a Silver Surfer on the cover here, number 8. It's been so long since I read this series that I really forget all the details. Here's number 9. And much to my disappointment at the time, this only ran for 12 issues. Number 10. So it ran for about a year. Number 11. And number 12. And then they had this Day of the Defenders. I think this was a reprint of
Sirius XM.
Marvel Feature, or the Defenders number 1. Maybe it was Marvel Feature, because that was the first appearance of Defenders way back in 1972, I think. And so this reprinted the story. So here was the first 12 issues, and then this Day of the Defenders. And so when this series ended, it resurfaced as a title called The Order. And you can see they kind of have some fancier get-ups here with Doctor Strange as Namor, Surfer, and there's the Hulk kind of dressed up. And I forgot the premise of this series. It ran for about 5 issues, I think. 6 issues maybe. Here's number 2. And at the end, I think there was some kind of curse involved with this. And at the end, they all went back to normal, and that was that. Here's number 4. Number 5. And this was the last issue, number 6. So this was the Order, which was, I guess, a successor to the Defenders series here. And like I said, I don't really remember all the details. Prior to this series of the Defenders, there was something called the Secret Defenders. This was typical mid-90s, early to mid-90s sort of stuff, with the fancy covers being all chromium or whatever you want to call it. So this predated the what I just showed you, and so the premise with this was I think Doctor Strange would bring together just a bunch of random heroes for whatever situation that might have come up. So in the first issue it featured Wolverine, I think Spider-Man was in this first issue, or Spider-Woman. I forget this guy's name. This is Darkhawk. And this ran for about 24 issues. I don't have all of them. I've got maybe 16 or 17. And that's number 3. I think Wolverine was in just about everything back then. Maybe still is. I was reading the Previews comic magazine, which kind of gives you a heads up on what's coming out. And glad I don't read X-Men anymore. There's probably about a dozen different X series, at least I counted. Here's one with the Punisher and the Hulk. I don't know what's going on in the X universe anymore. But Wolverine's in just about all those titles, I think. Here's number 6, and this has Scarlet Witch, Spider-Man, Captain America, Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange, I think, is in all of these books until near the end. But I like the idea of this, team up. These team up stories that maybe ran for a couple few issues. Here's Doctor Strange with War Machine, Silver Surfer, and Thunderstrike. And here's number 10. It's part 2 of that run. This one features Doctor Strange, North Star, Nova, and the Incredible Hulk. If I'm not mistaken, I think North Star was a Fake. I think he actually was part of a storyline where he came out. Here is Thanos is on the cover. I don't know why he's on the cover. That's number 12. Here's number 13. Number 14, Saved by the Silver Surfer. This one has Rhino, Nitro, Super Skrull, Titanium Man, and Gear-Tar. No idea. I don't think I read this series past maybe the first 10 or so issues. Here's an issue with Deadpool, Cage, and Dr. Druid. So I think by this point, Doctor Strange was no longer a part of the series. This one has Deadpool and Cage. You can find these cheap. I mean, these are like dollar bin or 25-cent bin comics nowadays. Here's the last issue that I have, number 17, Deadpool, Cage, and Dr. Druid. Again, I think this series went on for maybe another 6 issues or so, maybe to issue 23, 24, 25, I don't know. But again, I always kind of like the obscure titles like the Defenders and the Invaders. So that's on the horizon. Also want to get into my Grant Morrison JLA run. Actually, I have the almost entire run from that series from 1996. It ran about 125 issues. That video is going to take a while. But that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. I'm pretty sure I'll be back next week.